Karel, how are you?
Doing great, and you?
Good, good. Thank you, Karel.
Awesome.
Karel, where were you born?
I was
Yep.
I was born in Cuba,
Okay.
and
What is your complete name?
my complete name is Karel Curras.
Uh-huh.
But though, if you ask me in Cuba, it would be Karel Curras Sanchez.
Right, because they use this, the
They
mother's
use
name.
the exactly.
Right.
Here it's just Karel Curras.
Do you know why they name you Karel?
Well, yes, I do. Actually, it was because of a singer named Karel. He's
Okay.
actually a Czech singer. So it's the last name is spelled Gott.
Okay.
So he was very famous in Europe, and around that time in the 1960s and 70s. So when I was born in 1970, I think my uncle, it was the one that said, you know what,
Yeah?
I like Karel, and it means actually Charles, which in Spanish is Carlos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So your uncle
So-
came up with the name?
My uncle was the one that came up with the name.
Wow.
And I told my mom, and mom said, hey, I think this kid's going to be famous one day, so go ahead and name him Karel.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a brother. He's 13 months younger than me.
Right.
So he's 46, I'm 47 right now.
Do you remember about your childhood in Cuba?
Very little, because I left when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember some things.
Right, right.
But not everything.
You don't remember
It's-
friends, stuff like that?
I don't. I don't. I try remembering some things. I recall maybe the house that we lived in, and
Uh-huh.
possibly a few places that we went. For example, in school, I remember there was somewhat of a hill or a mount,
Uh-huh.
and we used to run up and down that hill and mount. And
It was in La Habana?
It was in La Habana, specifically Guanabacoa,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
which is
I-
that area.
I've heard of it, yeah.
mhm.
And
So-
you're an actor, you're a comedian. Do you remember as a child, even in Cuba, being like very outgoing and
Animated. I was always like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever serious, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I tried it and it didn't work.
Did it work? No.
So I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna stick to being, just
When you
crazy.
got married, I imagine, or no?
Oh God, no.
No?
No, it was. I think when I was in my wedding day, it was the most serious one.
Right, that's
Because
what
I didn't know what to do the ring. And sometimes if they show me the hand, I show my wife, hey, let me see your hand. I'm gonna put the ring. She gave me the wrong finger. It happens. No, I didn't take it personal. I try not to.
Right,
But
right.
it's all good.
So after Cuba, you moved to Spain, I think?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So basically, we went from Cuba to Barcelona.
Uh-huh.
My uncle at the time, he lived in Barcelona for so many years already.
Mhm.
He had left Cuba around 25, 26 to pursue a career in the medical field. He was
wow.
a psychiatrist.
Wow.
So in Barcelona, so he claimed 11 of us. So we
Mhm.
went from Cuba to Barcelona. We stayed there around a good 6 months,
Oh, little.
just a few,
right,
just
few
a little
months.
time, and then a few months, and then we went from Barcelona. We came to Miami. We had cousins here, and they had set us up in an apartment. So it was 11 of us in the family.
Wow.
So it was a lot. It was a lot of people.
Do you remember your first emotions, impressions when you came to Miami?
I don't. I remember actually the first impression when I went to Barcelona
Uh-huh.
because of seeing stuff that I had never seen before. I'll give you an example. Fruits,
Uh-huh.
a fruit stand.
Uh-huh.
You had all these colors that I really hadn't seen before in Cuba, and they were vibrant coming at you,
Wow.
like the oranges and the apples, and you had all these sorts of fruits. So it was sort of
Yeah, that stuck in your mind.
sexology for the eyes, and the colors and everything was. So it was crazy. It was all these crazy colors, but that's what I remember. It's
Right,
kinda
right.
funny.
That's stuck in your
Miami,
mind.
not too much, to be honest with you. It was kind of confusing between going from Cuba to
Right.
Spain. So
The language, do you remember it was hard when you came
language was very hard because I had to go to the bathroom, obviously. And we went to a black school, and here you are, Hispanics, kids in a black school, and you needed to go to the bathroom, and you're doing one of these,
Right.
and obviously I'm doing this to go to the bathroom. But if you're doing this, you got to be careful with that stuff. You can get into trouble nowadays with this
Right.
stuff, especially all the sensitive stuff
Right,
going around there.
right,
But
right.
it's all good. But
So
yeah.
what did you do at the time?
So I just said, pee-pee or whatever I could say. Whatever I could say in Spanish, I said it, But it was crazy.
But it was nuts, man.
But it was nuts, man, I mean, to have language that you don't
Right,
know
I
anything.
imagine the language was
What do you say?
Right,
How do you say it?
right.
To who you say it?
Mm.
Because if you say it to the teacher and you're doing this, you can get you in trouble too. So I mean, it's crazy.
So you remember a little shock of culture,
Right?
When
Definitely culture shock. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, and it was a black neighborhood.
It was.
Being Hispanic.
It was. And we were actually in a Hispanic neighborhood. We were living around 5th, Southwest and 3rd Street or 3rd Avenue. I didn't even remember now. But it was by the Miami River.
Okay.
But basically it was a lot of Hispanic area. But then again, the school where we were going was Douglas Elementary. It was a black school.
Okay.
So we did that for a few years, and then we kind of moved from neighborhood to neighborhood until we got into the Westchester area, which is where I live right now. But it was hard. Going back to what you asked me, it was hard because it was a culture clash.
I imagine.
And there was a lot of confusion. So
being a kid, I know.
being
right?
a kid, yeah,
Right.
yeah, and nothing wrong with that, but it was good because it's a learning experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it kind of puts you at a slower pace growing up.
Why?
Because of the fact that you had to learn stuff that people here already learn, like nursery rhymes to begin with. They say something, they sing something, and you're like, I don't know that. Well, we don't have that in Cuba, but that's what they do here in America. That's a nursery rhyme, but that's okay. You remember about this comedian? What comedian? No, I wasn't born here. You have to look all that stuff up.
So let me ask you a question,
So,
because
yeah.
most people when they feel that they close down because they don't feel, they become shy, they don't feel very secure. But you're not shy.
I'm not.
So how did you manage that? I mean, your personality came across when you
It's
had...
basically what it did. I try to ask, and I try to, despite that I was shy with women more than anything.
Really?
But I wasn't shy with everything else. So little by little, you get,
I guess it was easier for you because of your personality than...
It was. It was very simple. It was very simple because of that. I can ask something, I can say something.
Right.
But now, of course, I'm more open because of the learning experiences that I've had. But despite, it was hard. It was challenging. But hey, you do it. Like anybody else out there. You know?
Well, what type of a student were you? Were you
I was actually a clown.
Yeah?
I was a class clown.
I can imagine that.
Oh, yeah. Out of here.
Yeah.
You're making a noise. Out. So, hey, but, but you can say at the time I had ADD.
Yeah?
Yeah, but they didn't have it at the time.
I'm going to ask you about that later, because nowadays all the kids get, I don't agree with that, that's my own opinion, that not everybody has to be medicated. Maybe at the time you would have been...
If I would have been medicated, I would have been worse, probably. I would have had more hair, probably. But, you never know, because they say ADD, and the kid has CNN and HBO, and God knows what they have, They can make all this stuff up along the way. Are you kidding me? I don't even know sometimes, what I had. But I know I had something. But I know I was always hype. And it wasn't the food that I was eating. People say, it's the food, and you're drinking Coca-Cola and Pepsi at the same time, So you're a mess, man. I said, no, I'm fine, I'm okay, I feel really good, I don't know. So, it's like, you got to calm down. What medication are you taking? I said, I'm not taking any medication. I'm just drinking Coke. That's the type of student I was.
What you told me before we started recording, that you used to make noises
during
class. So give me your best one, please. That's a dog and a cat fight.
Yeah, and I would do this, of course.
I love you very, very, very much.
So what was the sound that you would do if the teacher was looking to the head and you...
And of course you'll be looking around the room going, where is it? Why is it? Of course I'll be... That's the type of student I was.
And they got you thrown out of class.
Oh man, not all the time, because sometimes I hit it pretty well, but of course they already knew who was the class clown.
Right.
Moi.
Did your parents, because they knew you, that was your personality, did they punish you because you were like that?
Sometimes I got sometimes I got in trouble.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if to say sometimes, maybe more than sometimes. Probably more than 50% of the time I got in trouble. But then again, I would get somewhat of a punishment, and I would get a laughter along with that punishment. Because of the fact that they had to laugh. It was funny.
Yeah.
Despite that they denied it, that it wasn't funny, but it was funny.
Right.
And everybody else, of course, was laughing. So I knew there was something there.
Right,
That I knew there was my personality.
So how did
was
you
fun.
manage? Because you were getting punished, but at the same time you got some kind of reward. So what was going through your
So
mind?
the confusion, it was a confusion,
Right,
but at
right.
the same time, it was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm still going to do it anyway. But yeah, I guess I'll calm down a little bit and then I locked it up. And that's it. And of course, having the authorities bring you down, that's always hard. But I have 2 kids, and I got to say, and I know we'll talk about that, but I got to say that I don't try to hold them down. There are some times that you have to, hey, come on,
be a father.
be a father. But I try to be as myself as I can be with them. But at the same time, you have to let them grow too, because they want to say things. If you make them so hard for them to do or give them so many restrictions or obstacles, then they can't develop their own personalities the way they should. I think, just my opinion.
When you graduated high school, what were you planning to do? What did you think?
I always wanted to help people. Always. I was always into I wanted to be physical therapy. I wanted to do basically phys ed teacher, PE teacher. That was from high school. And then I changed to occupational therapy. And then from there, I never got accepted into occupational therapy. So I did massage therapy on the side, and I did it for a year, approximately, and then I went back to occupational therapy at FIU. Never got accepted the second time.
Wow.
Which was the best door that closed in my face, because I was able to do the profession that I'm in right now, massage therapy. So it was perfect. So sometimes you see these things as pitfalls and negative things. I see it, and now, of course, that I'm older, now you look back.
You look back. Exactly.
That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Of course, you don't see it at that time.
At the time,
But
sometimes that's how life is.
That's what life is.
I got fired, 20 years ago, and because I got fired, that's why I started buying my things and started doing things on my own. So right now, when I look back,
thank you for firing me.
Thank you for firing me.
And hopefully you didn't fire me that hard, but and if you did, it doesn't matter anyway. Because I'm doing this now.
Right. So
but that's what it is. It's always I always say, for some things that are given, other things are taken. That's how it works in life.
Where do you think your love for the human, body, for physical started?
I think it came from being sick, because I was sick when I was a kid a lot.
Yeah.
I was always getting antibiotics, and my mom is a retired pharmacist.
Oh.
My dad is an electrical engineer. They're both retired already, of course, but I was always sick, and I always liked to help people. And I always liked the human body in the sense that it's interesting to see this machine, and it will be interesting to see how it works, because everything mimics the human body. You look at all the machinery out there, even the space shuttle. It has a motor, it has an engine, it has fuel, it has all the cables running into the electricity. Same thing in the human body. So everything, the car, human body, goes back to the human body. Everything goes back to the human body, of course. But that's because I'm in love with the human body. So I guess you're asking the wrong person. But then again, it's the best machine that we have.
I know. And I agree with you, because like many people don't understand how a camera works, right? It's just a complex machine.
Correct.
But if you think about it, when they think about it, this works exactly as the human eye, because when you put your hand here, your eye focuses here, and this is out of focus.
That's exactly
so, but you look at now it's the other way. That's the same way the camera works.
And we have 2 cameras actually.
Exactly.
2 are looking at 1.
So I understand what you're saying. It's everything.
But it's great. But it's great because there is also a programming too. And that's what the human body has. I mean, and this is the most important thing we have, the brain. This controls this. The brain controls the body, not the other way around. So that's why I always tell my patients, I said, the way you think is the way your body's going to act. So thinking positive, your body's going to act positive. You think negative, that's the result that your body's going to get. So people don't get that though.
No,
and it takes a long time.
I know, and that's weird, because you're a doctor. You are.
A doctor is a teacher. Actually, it's kind of funny because people say you're not a doctor. You don't have your PhD. You don't have any of that. But the term doctor means teacher, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Latin. Doctor means teacher. So. And it's great, because being a teacher, I've taught anatomy and physiology for 22 years already, and it's amazing. But being a teacher, you actually have the best profession in the world because you're actually learning from your students. Of course, I tell them that all the time, and they don't think so.
Right.
They know you're smart. I said, I'm not smart. I'm just repeating things 1,000 times.
Right.
You
Right.
know? But thank you for the compliment. But it's a lot of it is repetition. You know, repetition is the mother of education, if you ask me.
Right.
I don't know who the father is, but repetition is the mother.
But it's interesting that you said that the mind controls because as a scientist, that was the word I was searching for.
Exactly right.
Scientists don't believe in the power of, not necessarily, I guess. Traditional scientists don't believe that the power of the mind, of there's something that you can explain, affects your entire body. You do,
Exactly right.
for what you told me.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, the thing is that it's a lot of it is psychology.
Right.
Psychology, it's what you say, how you say things to people, and in what context you say it to. A lot of it is coming from here. They call it neuro-linguistic programming. What you say has an effect on people, and how you say it and your tone has an effect on people. So when a person comes in with pain, it's very sensitive because they're in pain. They don't want to laugh. Nobody wants to laugh when they're in pain.
Right.
But it's how you approach that person that it's in pain. So you have to start with the mind. You have to start with psychology. You have to know the personality types. You have to know how people react to things. So it all starts with the psychology of treating people. And then after that, you start dealing with the human body and you tell them, this is what I see, this is what you should be doing, and that's it. And I guess to correct myself, not to tell them that they have to, but to tell them that, hey, this is what has worked. Try it out. It's a nice approach, but it's a simple approach. Because if you are too authoritative with people, and I'm a therapist, I'm a doctor, I'm a great doctor, worship me, stand beside me. No, you can't do that. You have to be respectful of people. But you also have to be nice, and you also have to be yourself.
Right.
And you have to learn how to treat people. When you do that, the battle is won already before the person gets on your table.
How much percentage would you say when a person has a pain is emotionally? How much is physically?
I think, if you ask me,
Yeah.
it's a very good question. Yeah. I think it's 85% to 90% emotional.
Really?
Yep. The rest is physical, if you ask me.
Wow.
Okay. Because there's always going to be a mind component. The mind-body component, as a lot of books have. There's a book actually called A Mind-Body Connection. And it makes a lot of sense because there is a major connection. Everything's connected. You talk about the human body, according to about one author, there's many authors that I've read in reference to how many muscles are there, how many nerves, endings, and how many, but there's about 654 muscles in the human body according to one book I read. And there's about 206 bones in the human body, okay? Depending on, again, embryologically how you're born. You can be born with 207.
Oh, really?
It can happen, sure.
Oh.
You can be born with 210 because maybe bones are formed. They're extra bones that are formed in your body. It can happen.
Wow.
Seldomly, but it can happen. They're called anomalies. Things that happen and we can't explain it. You could be born with two appendixes. It can happen. So, again, going back to that, it basically is, everything is a mind-body component. Okay? The mind affects the body. So again, as I was saying, 654 muscles approximately, 206 bones, about 60,000 miles of blood vessels. If you put them end to end, that probably can wrap around the earth twice.
Wow.
That's a lot. Inside
one person. Wow.
Inside one person. And again, according to another text that I read, 75 trillion to 100 trillion cells in the human body. It's a lot.
All right.
One cell, to give you an analogy, is like a house. So if you were to be on a plane and you're up 10,000 feet and you're looking down at the vicinity and all the houses and everything that you're looking down at, imagine one house is one cell. And imagine the highways are arteries and veins. Arteries are blood vessels that carry blood to the different parts of the body, and then veins are blood vessels that bring the blood back. That has been used by the cells that is now not oxygenated, and then it gets taken to the lungs. So in the lungs, it gets the oxygenation that it needs. It gets taken to another part of the heart, and that gets dumped into the body. So the heart is actually two pumps.
Right.
So it's lumped up, two pumps in one. So again, saying that, it's an amazing machine.
Right.
It's amazing. And yet we say, oh man, our bodies, it sucks, I'm getting old. Hey, don't blame it on the doctors.
Right.
You got to look at yourself. Look at your machine. You got to take care of your machine because that's the only thing you have, man. But the doctor is there to assist. He or she is there to help you out, and the therapist and everybody else in the team. It's always a team approach.
Right.
So.
I always say I told my wife is studying nursing, you know, and I always say that, and people might not agree with this, but I always say,
and it doesn't matter, no.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's
just an opinion.
It's
just my own opinion.
That's it. And sorry, not to interrupt you, but I believe this is more of a, people say this is a right or a wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you.
For you.
That's it.
Right.
There is no right or wrong.
Right, yeah.
She
She always tells me that, about medicine and stuff, and I always tell her, well, you know what, medicine is an educated opinion.
Right.
And I will listen to it, but it's an educated opinion.
Yeah.
It's not like the end all be all of what I'm gonna do with my body. If a doctor tells me, hey, you should do this and this and that,
Right.
I will listen to it, and I will ask you a million questions, knowing myself.
Exactly.
Explain to me this, explain to me that, and that, and that, and that.
Yeah.
But at the end, I believe what you're saying. But it's my own machine.
Exactly.
And I think that
you gotta take care of it. You have
Right.
a car, no? You take it to a mechanic. Mechanic says, yeah, I think this is what's wrong with it. I think this is what's going on. Okay, good. But if he or even she, let's put it that way, tells you, hey, this is what's wrong. This is what you got to do in order to maintain it, and you don't do it, so it's the mechanic's fault?
Right.
Because the car broke down again?
Right.
You have to blame it on somebody, no?
Right.
Not right. You got to blame it on you because you didn't do what the mechanic who has experience with the machine has told you. So it all comes back to you.
Right.
People, it's nice to shove it off to somebody else and blame, but it's you, man. It comes down to, at the end, it comes down to you.
Right.
You know? So
Now that we're on the topic of the human body,
Yeah, of
I
course.
went to your website, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which I recommend to everybody. The
Thank you,
website,
man.
it's
Appreciate it. Thank you.
KarelMuscleTherapy.com.
.com. Exactly. KarelMuscleTherapy.com. Yeah. And it's kind of funny. It's a simple page. It has just a beginning introductory page, and it has the second page, which I believe it's the most important page because of the fact that not because it's my website, because of I share it with everybody out there, it's because of what it has in reference to posture. A lot of the problems that we have out there are postural problems. I understand there's a lot of other factors involved. Got it. No problem. I got it. I understand.
Right.
The scientists is going crazy now going, no, that's true. That's not true. Calm down. I understand that. But it's multifactorial, as this doctor that I basically refers patients to me, his name is Dr. Ruben Caride. He basically says, and I got that from him, it's multifactorial because there's a lot of factors that affect the human body. It's not just one thing. If it would be one thing, guess what? You can take care of it, no?
Right.
So, like in a car, right? Going back to the analogy of the car, there's never one thing going on with the car when it's broken down. It could be a couple of things because one part of the car affects the other. One part of the human body affects the other. You just have to know the machine.
Right.
So, going back to the posture, you go to a doctor, he or she will tell you the problem is either mechanical or chemical or both. That's it. You don't have to have an engineering degree in order to figure that one out. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
No bashing on the engineering. You guys are doing a good
Well,
job.
I'm gonna ask you because it's called the classroom tips, and I found it amazing. I found
Exactly
very interesting ones,
yeah.
and I brought them because I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Because it's like some of them I understand, like the one that your screen has to be at the same eye level.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Because you see, and I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see.
Go
me
ahead.
here, okay?
Go ahead.
You see, everybody has the screen here. Everybody says, "Oh, you have to have the screen, and your eyes have to be right in the middle of the screen." The screen. So you have to have the camera, basically, or the device, wherever you're doing. You have to have it up here, and that way your head is this way. If you're looking at me from this position, your ears should be right on top of your shoulders. We should be basically a series of joints stacked one on top of the other. Makes sense, no? So if you're like this, people usually do this.
Right.
And they're typing. And they're going at it for 8-9 hours.
What happens when the screen is lower? Like it's my case. Like I just learned. Yeah, I know.
Then you have a laptop.
That's
That's a great one. I love those. Laptop, right? You ready for the laptop? This is an office computer. People typing pretty fast. Laptop. So then everybody says, "Hey, Karel, my neck hurts. I wonder what the problem is, man. You know? Yeah. You've been hunting for mice the whole day. Are you kidding me? So yeah, of course you're gonna have a problem with the neck, and it affects the hip. It affects everything. So people say, no, but it's okay. So that's just the computer.
Right. It's years and years of the same position. Yeah, I understand.
I'm telling you, man, same position, office work. And everybody comes out. They get out of the office 9 to 5. I'm not bragging. I'm not ragging on you people. I'm just saying. I'm saying to be aware. That's all. And I always have that motto in my business. Okay, I say business, but it's my hobby. I like to say because it's not really my business. It's a hobby. I love it. And I say awareness promotes balance. That's key. If you have an awareness of something, you can attain balance easier. Right. But if you don't, if you're not aware of even your existence, your pants,
right,
how things feel, when you're eating something, how it feels, how it tastes. Oh, it's good, it's cold, it's hot, it's vibrant, it's this, whatever it might be. You're having a drink. Oh, this is great. If there's no emotions, man, but going back to awareness, awareness promotes balance, and then it gives you everything else. Right. And you get the emotions, and you get all what life's supposed to be, feeling good. Right. But we forget that. Like I told you, we forget to laugh.
Yeah, everybody
forgets to laugh.
And that's the last smile frequently. It changes the temperature of your brain. I love it, and that's the last one.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's exactly right. The last thing I have there on that second page is really cool. If you guys go into it, it says smile frequently. It changes the temperature of your brain, and it does. Yeah. Because when you smile, it creates a reaction. And who doesn't like to smile, right? Or let's put it this way. Let's say you had a bad day or something happened, whatever it may have been. You see somebody smiling. Or you see somebody saying something funny. You're going to laugh. And that changes your whole attitude.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
And it reminds me of a poem I remember back in English class that it says, "The way the crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rude." So what it means is the way that animal shook the dust of snow off the hemlock tree, which is basically a poisonous tree, and it's a crow, not a nice animal to look at. You don't look and I go, "Oh, what a nice bird." No, you're not. The way that the crow did it, and the snow and the hemlock tree, it changed the attitude of how he was feeling, like sort of death. Okay, it was upon him, like shaking, death was upon you, or shadow and depression and everything. So it changed his heart to say, wow, I gotta pick it up, man. Because if not, it's not gonna be a good day. And we only have one life.
That's a good point.
So, so I forget sometimes, being so energetic and everything, but I try to remind myself and say, hey, we're not here for that long. We really are not.
Yeah, we're not.
And
really.
People do not take advantage of life the way they should. They don't savor the things we should savor. We worry about some stuff.
They worry about money and stuff like that.
What does worrying do, though?
Right.
It gives you less hair. Oh, wait. No, kidding. But when you worry about something, it doesn't do anything. It gets you depressed.
I know.
And I like to show my teeth. That's the reason I went to the dentist for 3 years. I have braces. It's good stuff. They're beautiful.
So let me ask you about some of the classroom tips that you have.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Because I found that some of the computer,
everybody
can understand.
Everybody gets up because everybody's been on a computer or a laptop, or now even on the phone. Actually, you take your phone. I'll show you. I'll show you this one real quick. Yeah, everybody's doing this. They're texting. That's the way people text, by the way. They're doing this and going in there. It's crazy. And then your neck's going to hurt. So the same thing here. Same thing, office monitor, laptop. I try to text like this with the elbow, even if it's on an armrest or something like that, even if to do this, just to get the neck, because I feel it. And I'm aware of it because I'm a
you're aware of it, right.
And I catch it because I catch it on other people. And you see people out there. But go ahead, please.
Well, some of the things that I brought it so you can explain.
Yeah.
When you sit, don't cross your legs or ankles. Explain to me why.
And I've done it. I catch myself all the time with that, because here's what happens. This is how a lady or a guy can do it too. This is how, and if you basically look at me here, I'm crossing my legs. What this does automatically, little by little, is raises this hip. Okay? So I'm raising basically the left hip here. So little by little. So you imagine this, and you're 57 years old, let's just say, to give a number out there. Every time you sit down, and this 57-year-old is doing this, every time he sits down. So you imagine how many times? And then they say, oh, I wonder why I have hip pain. I wonder why I have this higher. I wonder why if I'm like this side hurts more. And then they go to bed at night, and guess what they do? They go like this, and they sleep like that, and they lay on the same side that's higher, and if the mattress is really bad, which a lot of people have pretty bad mattresses, they don't even know it, they tend to create a curve this way. So here's a mattress, here's a person laying down. Here again, creates another problem. Got it? Then they stand like this. I don't know if you can see me from there. But they stand with the weight on the left side. So now this is higher. So now little by little, they got this going on that side. You see that?
Yeah.
So before you know it, this, along with that, along with this, and we're not even talking about driving. If they're driving, you see people driving like this. And obviously they're driving with the right foot, but they're doing one of these. So, and I've seen people driving like this, believe it or not. And I've gotten actually like that before in my car and looked at them and I'm going, are you kidding me? I got to be careful, because then they think I'm checking them out, and I'm not. If it's a guy or a girl, you never know. But hey, you can do it. I'm not saying you can't. But then again, you see them like that. So everything that this person is doing, this 57-year-old is doing, guess what they're doing? They're raising the hip. So they come to me, they say, oh, I have this pain in the hip. I said, from what I've told you, I wonder why. After they've explained to me that they've sat this way, that they've slept this way, that they stood this way, and they drove this way, of course you're going to have all that. And of course, coupled with bad nutrition, no exercise, or wrong exercise, I got to say, because people say exercise, but some people exercise too much. That's another point I want to bring, because of the fact that they do too much exercise and it causes more injury.
Why too much exercise is bad?
Because of the fact that...
And I'm asking you personally.
Oh, no problem. No problem. And I always mention to people, I say, too much exercise is not good, because you're not giving your body a chance to rest. The body deserves to rest. Usually you have a day of exercise, a day of rest. A day of exercise, a day of rest. So usually I tell people exercising 3 times a week will suffice. It's good. And
one of your tips is to write down, to keep a log of the things that you eat, because of what you're saying.
Right, that's exactly right. So in other words, you want to log what you eat, because of the fact that you could be allergic to something, and then you catch yourself.
You never know.
You never know. And here's another one for you. As you age, the hormones are different. You know, the hormones are chemical messengers that are released from glands, and these glands are found basically from, you can say, the waist up in your body. Most of those glands are found from the waist up, except for the male and the female down here. Okay, so you have all these glands releasing hormones, and those hormones are flowing in the bloodstream. And then in the bloodstream, it's going to all the cells of the body, but it changes. It changes because, again, of the environment. It changes because of the nutrition. It changes because of the posture. So you got to keep up with it. You could have shellfish all your life, and then all of a sudden you get to 50 years old. Let's use the example of the guy, the 57-year-old guy with this and this and this and that, right? All that good stuff. Imagine a 57-year-old guy, okay? We'll give him. Now he can't eat shellfish anymore because of the fact that things have changed in the body. And of course, he gets angry, man.
I know.
It sucks. My body sucks. I can't believe this. This is terrible. I can't. It's not the body. It's you. What are you doing to it? So I always tell people I'm the defense attorney for the human body. I got all the evidence in the world. So if you come to see me, you're not going to win. I win all the time. Because again, I got the evidence on the human body. And boy, there's a lot of evidence out there. So they can't really win with me when it comes to that. I win all my cases.
It is us that we are messing up our own body as we age, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. Right. We want to help it, but sometimes we hinder it. And we don't realize it. Again, going back to the point that I made in reference to the motto that I have in my hobby, awareness promotes balance.
Right.
You got to be aware of how you walk. Okay, as crazy as that sounds, people don't know how to walk.
Huh.
You know, I see people out there. If you can focus in on me here, or focus out of it so people can see it, and people walk like this, like a waddling gait pattern. They're almost like a little duck, almost. They never walk like this. You should actually use your hip flexors. These are called the hip flexors. These muscles called the adductors. There's 5 of them on the inner thigh, along with a couple of other ones. There are 8 muscles that help you to flex your hip. But people walk like that. They waddle.
There's actually machines at the gym that go to the side.
Correct, because you need to have different angles. You see that? When you're doing exercise, you need to have different angles. And the more the angles, the better it is, because you're getting different muscles. I don't like the machines that you're stuck at one angle or you're only doing this. That's why I like the bands. I don't like weights so much. I like bands. If you have bands, TheraBands, the elastic bands, stretching bands, you can use that for the entire body. And it works great. But, again, people want to build muscle. Oh, yeah, I got to do it. And, of course, the movies, you know how it is, right? In the movies.
Of course.
Because everybody wants to be big now. What's the problem with being skinny, you know?
Right.
This looks pretty good, right? Skinny, but it looks good. But everybody wants to be big. They want to be big. They want to be like the Hulk. They want to be like X-Men. It's okay, guys. You're going to be accepted. Just be yourself.
Right.
But you don't have to go nuts. And this is where they injure themselves. Oh, yeah, I did CrossFit. Nothing wrong with CrossFit, but again, if you can't do it, don't do it.
Right.
I lifted up that big tire, and I think half of my testicle fell. It happens. Be careful, guys. Please.
You said that if you have a bad bed, and most people don't know they have a bad bed, what is a good bed?
A good bed is, I believe, a firm bed.
Okay.
Not a hard bed. Very much confused. People say hard. I can't sleep in a hard surface. No, hard is the floor.
Right.
Okay. Hard is basically sleeping on the floor here that we're in. But I'm talking about a firm bed. Again, enough to hold the body weight, but enough also to give you a rest as you're doing the sleep. Again, you know, average sleep is 6 to 8 hours. People don't sleep well out there.
So the Tempur-Pedic technology is not that great for the human body, to
Not
your
that-
opinion?
In my opinion, I don't love it. I don't think it might be comfortable for some people, but then again, it all depends on if the person has a condition. So if the person has 5 conditions and they come to see me, I say, if it works for you, do it. For me, in my opinion, I think the firmness
Right. So
is
it's better.
The firmness is better of the
because
mattress.
it holds your body.
Because it holds your body, and it keeps your body aligned better. In my opinion. Yeah.
So let me ask you, when people come here and they tell you, and you tell them, no, that's not the best bed, and that, you know, do they
Right,
have a
right.
bad, because the Tempur-Pedic bed is very expensive.
Yeah. Some of them will be like, hey, that mattress costs $20,000, right?
Exactly,
And you're telling me it's not good? It's $20,000 I pay for that mattress, right? 20, man. You have that money in the bank? Huh? Do you? Take it easy, man. All right?
Okay, so next one is slide back on the chair, don't sit on the edge. I imagine it's because...
Oh, boy. That's a good one. That's a great one. In fact, let me accentuate on that one.
Yes,
if you don't.
please.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
So we'll get in this position.
Yep.
And people sit, and I know it's hard to see it sometimes because this is has the armrest here. But they sit on the edge, and then they're... Ready? And I don't know if their jaw is like that, but that's what I do. They may be mumbling.
You get upset and everything.
That's what happens up there. But see what happens with the hip? Hip tilts forward and then it locks up your back. So, I mean, surprisingly, people don't realize that you have these postures throughout the entire day. There's people that sit for 13 hours, believe it or not.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
They might get up.
Right.
I'm not saying they don't.
But most of
Maybe
the
go to
time,
lunch or something like that. But most of the time,
Yeah.
no, not even. It's so they put themselves in that position all the time. So in other words, so I say to them also, you fix your posture, you take away your pain. For a lot of these conditions, you know, you fix the posture, you take away the pain, because a lot of it is postural.
Right.
If we determine that is the postural problem, then fix the posture, and then you're not going to feel as bad. Again, there could be other conditions that are affecting the person, emotionally, got it, spiritually, you never know.
Right, right.
And chemically. I say to them also, go from the beginning of the day, when you wake up in the morning, to the end of the day, and examine your postures throughout the day.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out what you're doing.
Right.
And maybe you can change it around. Maybe that changes your pain. Change
Why?
your posture, change your pain.
A lot of people tend to move the shoulders forward, and I do that. And now that I am aware of that, I observe that a lot of people have
It's another good question.
And I always try to go back, but then again, it's uncomfortable because I'm not used to it, you know. But why does it create people?
The problem is that these muscles in the front are about 30% stronger than the muscles in the back.
Uh-huh.
So this is a posture that tends to go all the time with everybody's posture,
Right.
with everybody's activities of daily living, as we call it. So they eat like that, and you see it in the elderly people, you know, the octogenarians, people in their 80s, that they're eating like this, and they tend to already be hunched, and you see them like that, and they're all and then I have a guy that came in here, and he wasn't even octogenarian. He was like this. He was in his 40s, and he
Really?
said, yeah. And if you look at what I'm doing here, he's like this. You go, yeah, I have constipation, you know. I said, well, hell, I wonder why you're constipated. Look at your posture, man. You're blocking the fecal matter from passing down, man. You kidding me? Yeah, I don't know why I get...
Really,
you know,
literally,
I get constipated, man, you know? I don't know why. What's wrong with me? I said, well, you're beginning to shape like a letter C, you know, for caca. So stand up, you know, I can't. And that's why I go in there and I start working the muscles out.
Right, because the body's so used to, right?
Yeah.
Can it be corrected?
It could be corrected to an extent.
Oh.
To an extent. I say that because of the fact that your whole skeletal system provides support. But the muscles pull on bones to create movement. When the muscles have been doing that for years and years and years, and again, we talked about the number 654. Again, it can vary between whatever, you know, 20 up, 20 down, doesn't matter. But let's just use the number 654. And 654 muscles and 206 bones. If you think about this, okay, you have all these rubber bands called muscles and all these levers called bones. And all these rubber bands are attaching to these bones, levers, and pulling them in different directions. Over and over and over. But there could be more muscles pulling one way than the other way, and this is where we tend to go this way. Because again, gravity, because of our postures throughout the day, again, we tend to work this way. If we work in an office, right? I work this way when I do massage because I'm using these muscles. That's why I always tell people, strengthen the muscles in the back. Lengthen the muscles in the front. When you work out, do a 3-to-1 ratio. Do less on the pecs, more on the back. That way, these muscles will start strong. Exactly, they bring the posture back, and these muscles begin to lengthen. So now it doesn't even put pressure on the heart and the lungs. Because think about this too. Let me give you this goes from the mechanical to the chemical. How the mechanical affects the chemical.
Yes, please.
So the mechanical. Imagine that 57-year-old, we'll use him again, you know, hopefully he doesn't remember who I am, you know, but there's no name, so it's all good. So here he is, this guy, you know, we'll call him C, letter C.
C, all right.
C. See what you did? You see what you did? Wrong posture. So here's C. So C is like this the whole day. He works in an office, right? He works 10, 11 hours, right? He has a wife, he has 2 kids. Let's give that scenario, right? So he gets up in the morning and C, remember, sleeps like that on a mattress that it's not firm. And he's like this, and he gets up from bed, and he gets up this way. And now C gets up like that, and instead of getting up on the side and pushing yourself up. So right there, he starts messing himself up in the morning. And he's not even working yet. And we're not even talking about, he hasn't even gone to the bathroom. Okay? So before you know it, from that day, that he's been like this the whole day, over and over and over and over. The postures have been getting in the sleeping position that he was in the morning, to getting up like that, because he used these muscles already. You got it? And he ate breakfast if he did. And if not, he's eating breakfast like this. Driving in the car. And eating. And the cornflakes are here, and you know, the whole milk is there. I've done that before. Not now, but I've done it before. But so C is doing this, and he's driving like this because he stands, and then he has the coffee here, and he's screaming at people, You know, maybe he's Italian, who knows? That's probably why his name is C. So everything is like this.
Right.
It's forward rotating.
Forward.
He's driving. He's at work. He goes like this. Then he eats lunch like this at his desk because he doesn't have any more time, you know.
Right.
And the kids call him. He's you know, he's on the phone, whatever. So imagine the posture is like that. He goes to dinner at night. He's like this.
Everything
he's
is
eating
right.
again. Everything is like this. And then he goes to the gym, and guess what he does? He works the pecs. And he wants to get strong. Getting strong now. Rocky Balboa. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Rock, you gotta do it. Stop doing that. You're gonna mess up your back.
Yeah, you'll make it. It's some bother me, you know. A little bit of Rocky imitation and Mickey. Anyway, but so C is doing this and he's working out his chest and he's getting all tied up. Oh, this is all, of course. And then you see C coming out. Yeah, here I am, you know. I'm C. There you go. See me? Huh? I'm good. C's a mess. A mess. He's constipated. He's stressed. And he can't even, his wife doesn't even like him.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I haven't even talked about his wife, but who knows?
And he comes to see you, you're not complaining.
And he comes to see me and he tells me he's constipated. And I say, well, are you taking prune juice or, you know? Like Rodney Dangerfield said one time, you know? You know Rodney Dangerfield. You remember Rodney Dangerfield? No, he is a comedian. You know,
Yeah.
he died around, I think it was October of 2005, if I'm not mistaken. But he said, you know, the other day I took a Viagra and a laxative. I don't know if I was coming or going. And it happens out there. You know, that's C. C needs a laxative, but he needs more than that. He needs treatment.
Do you
So-
get these clients sometimes that they tell you something that is so obvious that everybody in the world could be them, but they still, you know, they need a doctor or a therapist to tell them, you know?
Yeah. And it's sort of like you can see
Right.
that the person's coming in, you can already see them.
yeah.
Because you look at their posture, like C,
right?
and C is basically a C. Because he's a mess, and he's doing everything, and he's not even being aware.
Right.
And he's not even, and when I put him in the mirror, because I have a mirror here, and I said, go in front of the mirror. Oh, yeah. No wonder I'm constipated. I said, of course. You're a mess. Not only that, you know, you have bad breath too. Oh, because you have all that stuff in there and it's coming all the way up. You're killing me. You want to put breath mint in your mouth, put deodorant in your mouth or something like that. Go like this and then go like that. I don't know. So it happens out there, but you can see it.
Right.
Sometimes and that's a curse for me because I've been doing this all these years.
Right.
And I'm sitting in a restaurant with my girlfriend, you know, and I'm looking out and I see, oh, are you kidding me? And the person's moving.
Right.
The person's walking. Let's say we mimic like we're walking, and the person, this arm is moving more, and this arm is not moving as much. And you can clearly tell they had an injury there, and they're holding onto that arm. They're holding onto the pain, to the emotion. Again, everything. It's not just mechanical. Remember, like we said before, it's also here,
emotional, right.
emotional as well too, because you're stressed,
Very stressed.
and it's a mess.
And they
man.
take it on the family, maybe.
They take it out on their family, you know. They can't use this arm, so they go, you know, I can't believe you guys, you know, this one, I can't believe you guys, you know. But damn it, you know,